if the child's struggle in school isn't about intelligence, but about how they are being taught? Why do so many intelligent children struggle in school nowadays?
They really need to be taught in a certain kind of way.
Parents can think that the child is lazy or maybe doesn't want to do this.
They lose their belongings, they turn in their homework late.
Welcome to Mindset to Results. Today our topic is why smart kids struggle in school and how to help them thrive. What if the child's struggle in school isn't about intelligence, but about how they are being taught? In today's episode, we explore powerful research-based learning strategies with educational expert Dr. Emily Levy, founder of EBL Coaching and author of widely used study success workbooks, helping students with dyslexia, ADHD, and learning challenges unlock their true potential. Hi, Dr. Levy.
Hi there.
You are most welcome today. And before we start our episode, would you please share a little bit about your passion, why you do what you do?
Sure, I'd be happy to. And first off, thank you so much for having me on today. I'm really excited to be here. To give you a little bit of a background, I actually grew up in the field of special education. My mother was the founder of a school for students with learning disabilities down in Florida, which is where I grew up. So I spent so much of my childhood seeing children come to her school with low self-esteem, struggling academically, and seeing how life-changing it was for them to receive the right support, the right instruction, and the right strategies to really help them thrive. So I think that was really the foundation of ultimately what led me to pursue my master's degree in special education, my doctorate degree in education, and really do what I do today, which is helping students with special education needs thrive.
Yeah, this is very important because all we entrepreneurs and audience who listen to this podcast, of course, it is business owners, entrepreneurs, but we all have children, and this episode is so important where we can learn to understand our children better. So, why do so many intelligent children struggle in school nowadays, according to your opinion?
Well, I think that's a great question. And I think that so many children learn in different ways, particularly neurodiverse students, students who have ADHD, dyslexia, learning disabilities. They really need to be taught in a certain kind of way. And oftentimes that traditional teacher speaking to students, non-engaging kind of lesson structure just doesn't work for every student. So I think if we could integrate different approaches to teaching that suit different children's brains, I think we would see so many more students excel and thrive in school.
Yes, and what is about identifying? Because no, parents sometimes don't think that their children have any of these mental conditions, and there are not like tests which identify children who have and don't have. So, how parents can help their children to in relations and understand like their children really needs, like how they need to proceed the information.
Sure. What I always tell parents is that if they notice that their child is struggling at home, whether it's learning how to read, writing a sentence, completing math word problems or computation problems, or they're very disorganized, the first thing they should do is reach out to their child's teacher and see if the teacher is noticing these same kinds of challenges at school. If they are, it may make sense to have a comprehensive evaluation done to really determine if, in fact, something deeper is going on, like a learning disability, autism, ADHD, so that the right supports and the right strategies can be put into place at school.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, amazing insight. So parents and teachers should collaborate, yes, and find out how they can help their child the most. So, is struggling is in school usually a problem with the child or with the way of teaching?
That's a good question. Some of that really depends on the child. Sometimes there are students that have such specific learning needs that they do need to be in a separate school environment, more of a specialized setting. But in a lot of cases, children just need to be taught differently. And again, instead of maybe a lecture-based format, they need to be more integrated into the teaching with hands-on, multisensory activities or different approaches that are more suitable for all children and not just certain children who respond to that kind of traditional approach approach to teaching.
Yes, thank you. And also, we spoke about such cases as ADHD or dyslexia. So, in order to help children more, how parents can recognize early signs of these disorders and support their children more effectively?
Sure. So when it comes to dyslexia, some early signs at a very young age are really struggling with basic language and phonemic awareness concepts, meaning grasping rhyming, being able to understand the beginning sound in a word, the ending sound in a word, being able to orally put sounds together to form words. If children struggle with those skills, it could be a sign of dyslexia. Then as they get a little bit older, if they struggle to learn the names of the letters and their corresponding sounds, how to blend sounds together to both read and spell words, that can also be a sign of dyslexia. If later on they have difficulty spelling words, writing sentences, they exert so much energy into reading because it's so slow and laborious for them that it affects their comprehension. These are all signs that could suggest dyslexia. In terms of ADHD, if a child is really struggling with organization, planning, time management, getting started on their homework, staying focused for larger stretches of time, these could also be signs of ADHD. And the only way to really know that is to have a full evaluation done.
Yes, it is very important to support child because parents can think that the child is lazy or maybe doesn't want to do this. Yes, and how important is to understand that it is certain mental condition of the child. It is not just about being lazy. They can have that dreams and they want to do, but this is just how their brain operates. So could you please a little share about this, how what challenges such people such children may face, for example those who have ADHD?
Well, children who have ADHD often struggle with what we call their executive functioning skills. And those are skills like planning out tasks, staying organized with their assignments, managing their time well, being on time, maintaining clean rooms and backpacks. These are all parts of executive functioning skills that students who have ADHD often struggle with. They're often very disorganized. They lose their belongings. They turn in their homework late. These are all common challenges with ADHD.
I think also one is that to do things at the last moment.
Oh, yes, procrastination is a big one.
Yeah, so then where they just pull things and do. So how important is for parents to understand that it is not just bad habits, right? Because it also can be classified as bad habits, like why you don't plan your day, why you don't do that before instead of just waiting for the last moment. So it is important to understand that this is just how the brain of these people operate, children or adults, and we have so many now. I think this is very now common. Yeah, becomes more common, and how parents can help children with such situation.
Well, I think one of the best things that they can do is work as a partner with their child's teacher. I think sometimes it's very easy for parents to become easily frustrated when their child doesn't complete their homework on time. They start their homework late, their room is messy. So instead of looking at the negatives, I think turning that around to saying, this is my child, this is their profile. They don't learn the same way that a lot of other kids do. Let's together work on strategies to help them build these skills instead of beating them down with a lot of negative language.
Yes, yes, because children they can feel that they are not like others, right?
Yeah.
And they can feel like a shame, a guilt, and they can start beating themselves, like self-criticism, and it will make the situation worse. So how we can help children not to get into that route, and how really to bring their spirit up and show them that they are valuable as other people, not less, and they have other things which are their strength. Yes, so not only putting showing them what is their weakness, but what really is their strength, because it is always equivalent, right? If something is weak, it means that these children have something more strong,
Mhm.
right? And so, what you would suggest?
Well, I think really trying to use positive language whenever possible is always key. We all have strengths and weaknesses. Like you said, nobody is perfect. I might be good at reading, but really bad at swimming, whereas this child might struggle with reading, but they're a great friend, a great artist. So really just trying to play up those areas of strength and understanding that we all have areas that are not as strong that we need to work on developing. And that's okay. That's part of being human.
Yes, and I think also very important here not to put our own standards on children. Yes, we teach them like about values, about standards, but what I know from my own experience, especially when people are very ambitious, have big goals, high achievers, they can bring that pressure which they put for themselves. They will also automatically bring on children because they want to children also to be at that high standards, right? And especially if children have these situations with mental, I would say, conditions, it would be so much stress for them. And we can think that as parents we want the best for child because we want it to be good in study and set big goals as we do, but we can overwhelm children, and we can put so much pressure on them. And this is how it comes to really understanding your child well, not just looking at the child from perspective our own vision and how we see the life and our big goals, but also understanding where the child is, to think not from to expose not from up to down all our ideas, but really see the world how the child looks at the world from his point of view, and see what capacity, yes, like how much this child can can hold like in their container. We can have so big container and think that, oh, we can do everything, but it is so important to understand really what the child can feel, how container is the child, so we don't overwhelm them and not put so much pressure on them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so how, from your experience, how parents can find that level of connecting and like put the boundaries like for child and help child to set the boundaries, that they know what they can do and then what they cannot do, and
I think that the parent, I think as a parent, you really have to try to just get to know your child's strengths and weaknesses and what their capacity is. And not every child has the ability to become a neuroscientist, and that's okay. There's so many different career paths out there. So I think really trying to identify your child's strengths, what they're good at, and really encourage those while at the same time building those areas that are more challenging really helps to kind of know what's realistic for your own child.
yes, great. So what is the biggest mistake parents make when helping their children study?
I think one of the mistakes parents make is really putting a lot of pressure on their child and using language like you're just being lazy. Why can't you just put more effort in? And using these kinds of words that just make the child feel poorly about themselves because sometimes they're just not capable of doing more than what they're doing in that moment without the right tools and strategy. So again, I think being careful with the language that a parent is using and really trying to stay as positive as possible to maintain that parent-child relationship, but also boost their child's self-esteem.
Yes, it is very important. I think if we speak about parents and what is the biggest service they can do for their child, I would say to help them grow up confident.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter what are their weaknesses, but still we can focus on them knowing their strength and understanding that everyone has weaknesses, everyone has strength. So let's focus on strength and really support them, because them themselves already have that battle inside
yeah,
the battle, because they compare themselves with others and they may see in some situation that they're not strong as maybe the most of the children in the group. And when we help them to really respect themselves and understand that, accept, yes, this is, I know this is my weaknesses and I will improve as I can, but also this is my strength, so they don't feel that they are less valuable part of community or less valuable human beings as others.
Absolutely.
What are the three study strategies that can dramatically improve a student's performance, according to your experience?
Well, I think there's a lot of study strategies that can really help students, but three that come to mind are number one, setting a consistent homework time. There are a lot of students who sometimes will do their homework right when they get home from school. Sometimes they do it after dinner. Sometimes they don't start until 10 o'clock at night. And that can create a lot of chaos. So having a set homework time that's designated as the time that your child will start their homework and ideally complete it is really helpful. The other one is coming up with a designated homework space where the child will always do their work whenever there's homework to be done. That could be a desk in their room. It could be a spot on the kitchen table. The key is having a consistent space with all of the supplies that they need in that moment to complete their homework assignments. And then there's another strategy that's really helpful that we use for time management, which is called the ET versus the AT strategy. So what that means is that let's say a child has a math worksheet that they need to do for homework. Well, what we have them do is they estimate how long they think that worksheet is going to take to complete, and they write down the ET or the estimated time. And then they keep tabs on how long it actually takes for them to complete that assignment, and they write down the AT or the actual time. And we find that in the beginning, especially for kids who struggle with time management, there's a big discrepancy between those two times. But the more they practice this strategy, the more realistic they start to become with time, and the more their time management skills start to improve.
And how can we help to focus for children who have ADHD, because it is deficit of attention? So their span of attention is very short, and their brain jumps. Like they want to do one subject, they sit and maybe 5 minutes they read, and then their brain goes to something else. So what are the strategies to help them to focus and finish what they started?
One strategy that I like for that is called the Pomodoro method. And what that means is that when a child has multiple assignments or any tasks that they need to do for a long period of time, what they do is they set a timer for 25 minutes. And those 25 minutes are devoted to just working on their homework assignments. Then they take a 5-minute break where they can basically do whatever they want. Then they work for another 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. They do 4 of those cycles, and then they take a longer 20 or 30-minute break. And it helps to scaffold their focus and really stretch out the amount of time that they're able to stay focused on a task. And of course, if 25 minutes is too long, sometimes we'll modify it and we'll do 15 minutes with maybe a longer break. So we can modify that, but the key is really building structure to help them stay focused for longer.
Yeah, great. Thank you for sharing. Yes, I like Pomodoro technique. I use it myself to organize my time. Very effective method indeed. If every child in the world could learn just one skill to succeed in school and life, what would it be?
I would say reading. Reading affects everything, and being a strong reader can help you go very far in life.
Yeah, I agree so much. Reading, yes, amazing skill. And another question is, what would you say to a child who believes they are not smart enough to succeed?
Well, what I would tell them, and I often do tell children this, is that some of the greatest leaders that we have in the world, CEOs, entrepreneurs, business executives, have a learning challenges. They have ADHD or dyslexia or another learning disability or autism. So being neurodiverse, having a brain that works differently is not at all a weakness. It can actually be a strength, and that every child has the potential to excel and thrive in life.
Yes, great. So, before we wrap up this episode, what you would suggest to parents, for parents to help their child to grow confident and succeed in their study and life?
I think that a parent will really always know their child best and should always be their child's best advocate. So if something doesn't feel right, something doesn't seem right, don't sit back. Don't wait, take action, reach out to their teacher, be their advocate, and really always be on their side and supporting them through school.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Levy, for sharing your knowledge and experience with us today. This conversation reminds us that when a child struggles in school, it doesn't mean that they lack intelligence. Yes, it often means that they simply need the right strategies and support, especially from parents who are the closest people to them, and of course from teachers, where parents communicate and work together with teachers. And if today's episode resonated with you, please share it with like parents, teachers, or educational people who are in education who could benefit from these insights. And if you'd like to learn more about Dr. Emily Levy's work, her research based learning programs, and the resources she has created to help students succeed, please visit their website and explore the work. So, all the details will be in description to this episode. And
Ooh,
thank you again, Dr. Levy, for your
thank you so
attention.
much for having me. I've really enjoyed our conversation.
You're most welcome, and we're looking to see you again in our future episodes.
Absolutely.